We are approaching the grand finals, but we still have 2 more spots to fill. Hey everyone, welcome to day number 7. Our first group has a Mustang, a Corvette, a Dodge, and a shoebox. I believe that is the first shoebox we've seen in this tournament so far. So this ought to be interesting. Let's see how they can do. Right now, the shoebox is in front actually. But the Dodge, excuse me, is out in front, and then the Corvette takes the lead from him, and now those two are taking a decent-sized lead over the other two, and the Corvette is coming into this final stretch with the lead, but he has the wider turn compared to the Dodge. Does not matter, though. The Corvette finishes in first. Ooh, finishing with a 13.7. At this point, if you're not finishing in the low 13s or the high 12s, you could very well be in trouble. Meanwhile, the Mustang driver ends up on their side. Definitely not the most gruesome crash we've seen up to this point, but still thoroughly unpleasant, I'm sure. Somehow, every time, these racers do come back, despite their crashes, so that's a form of tenacity you don't often see. Coming into race number 2 now. The shoebox seems to start off well, but he may not be able to keep that up. I don't know if it's built to last that long. And once again, the Dodge and the Corvette take the lead coming into the second turn. The shoebox is actually keeping up with the Dodge, though. He does have a couple tight turns here. Let's see if he can take full advantage of those. He gets in front of the Dodge. The Corvette is out in front, though. And because of that tighter turn, the Dodge takes second place back. And the Corvette does finish a little bit faster this time, but still not quite the times you want to pull off based on some of the times we've seen so far. The fastest time currently is held, if I remember correctly, by the Firebird from day 2, finishing with a 12.64 at one point. Right now, the Corvette is undefeated. If he can get one more race, he solidifies himself in the day's finals, not the grand finals yet, but it'll look very promising if he can pull off a guaranteed spot and maybe even a sweep. I also want to take this time to let everyone know that starting on January 13th, I believe, next year, will be the 3rd mail-in tournament. At this point, all the spots have been filled, but we love to get the audience involved as much as we can. So to have more racers sent in, by actual people makes it all that more engaging. And in advance, if I say any of your cars' names incorrectly, I apologize. Right now, though, it looked like the Corvette actually finished in second that time, so he's not guaranteed a sweep anymore. Like, he can't get that, at least in this set of races before the finals. But he's still looking pretty good. So maybe he can get a sweep in the finals once he gets there. It's just a matter of who's going to join him at this point, and it's the shoebox out in front. But as I say, that quickly loses that spot to the Corvette and the Dodge, who are once again out in front of him. And that Corvette just slingshots himself along those tight turns. He does lose some speed on that wide one there, but it just does not matter, and he finishes with a 13.45. He's slowly improving, but he's got to pick up the pace if he wants any chance against some of the other people in the grand finals at this point. And the Mustang just trails behind. I think that's been a consistent thing with some of the Mustangs so far. But it'll be the Corvette and the Dodge moving on. Let's see who will join them in the finals in this second group, which contains a Supra, a Volkswagen, a Buick, and a Turbulence. Now, I don't know if I've seen a Volkswagen like that in these races either. And because this is the first one, I'm not going to try and make any sort of predictions on how it does, because I've definitely judged a few cars before they've raced before and was genuinely surprised by how they did. At this point, though, it's the Supra out in front. And who's in second? It looks like it's the Buick. But even then, the gap between first and second is so vast. The Supra did lose quite a bit of speed, but that huge lead allowed him to keep that lead and get the first win, finishing with a 14.28. Still not great, but if you can get more wins, then you'll be able to practice more And by doing that, maybe you'll improve your times. So in the standings right now, the Supra's in front, the Buick's in third, the Volkswagen in second, and despite turbo being in the name, the Turbulence is currently in last. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always been a fan of those little Volkswagen Beetles, I think they're called, because of the design. And part of the reason is because I actually once on the road saw a Volkswagen Beetle like that had a giant wind-powered wind-up key on the back, which was pretty adorable. So what's the wackiest car design you've ever seen? Let me know in the comments below. For now, though, we're taking a look as the Supra is taking the lead once again with a wide margin and does finish a little bit faster. Buick in second, Volkswagen in third, and the Turbulence in fourth again. And I believe the Supra has already taken care of the two wider lanes at the end here. So in theory, he'll have tighter turns at the end, allowing for possibly faster times. But we'll have to see as we get into these last couple of races in this group. The Buick actually starts off with the lead, but the Supra does have a couple tighter turns to take advantage of, and he does just that, while the Volkswagen is in second. But I don't know if the Buick is going to take the lead, well, not necessarily the lead back, but second place from him, and he does, and the Volkswagen starts to fall behind, and the Buick is actually trying to catch up to the Supra, but the Supra has the tighter turns now, and he takes full advantage, goes into that final stretch without a care in the world, and finishes with a 14.18. And I think everybody finished in the same positions again, showing just how consistent they can be for better or for worse. Yet the Supra does have 3 wins, so they're already in the finals. They'll need one more if they want the sweep at least, and a possible chance at being another undefeated racer, which I believe at this point we've had 3. We had the Firebird, who also has the fastest time, a Mustang from I think it was day 4, and then a Ferrari from day 6. So I'm sure the Supra would like to be the 4th one to join that group of undefeated racers, but so far the Buick is actually in front of him, and the Supra does have the tight turn and thankfully gives him the lead back at the last moment, allowing him to get the sweep, moving on to the finals, and a possible shot at being the 4th undefeated racer. Now we're going to have to check every undefeated racer before the grand finals to make sure none of them are taking any steroids or any sort of performance-enhancing enhancements. We'll call them enhancements for now. But as we get into these finals, the Supra, the Buick, the Corvette, and the Dodge, all 4 have shown to be at least decent racers. None of them have been pulling off the fastest time so far, but the Corvette and the Dodge currently hold a lead. But here comes the Supra and the Buick, and they're keeping up with the Dodge, but the Corvette is holding on to a lead, and he has a tighter turn here. Not that he necessarily needed it, but he finished with a 13.66. That is a little bit better than a lot of the times we've seen up to this point today. But he still wants to get a little bit faster if he wants a chance at winning in the grand finals. Now the Corvette, because of that win, also denied the Supra any chance of being an undefeated racer. But because he did get the sweep earlier, we're going to make sure he's not cheating in any way. Right now the Corvette is out in front, the Supra's behind him, but here comes the Buick and the Dodge, and the Dodge with a tighter turn takes the lead, trying to keep the Corvette from taking it back. And he's growing his lead, has the widest turn though. Is that going to affect the race? It kind of does, and the Corvette, because of the lane they were in, they were able to get a tighter turn, launch themselves forward, and get the lead back right at the very end. And it looks like the Supra barely finished in front of the Buick. Now the Corvette has 2 wins here. If they win in this race, they will take spot number 7 in the grand finals on day 9. But if they don't, then it's still open possibly for one of the other racers. Right now the Corvette is actually in the back but quickly launching themselves forward right next to the Dodge, having a tighter turn so they increase the size of their lead. And the Dodge is trying to keep up with them, but they're gradually losing speed as the Corvette gets into this last turn. The Dodge is trying to take advantage of the tighter turn, is not able to, and the Corvette, finishing with a 13.47, is guaranteed to move on to the grand finals. It's just a matter now of trying to get a sweep, which they almost did in the first group, but I believe the Buick, or whoever was with them, denied them that in one of the races. So they're trying to redeem themselves here a little bit. They can't get the complete sweep, but any sort of sweep is still respectable. And it looks like they're absolutely determined because they started off kind of falling behind, but they launched themselves forward, and the Buick somehow lost so much speed that they're nowhere to be seen with this group anymore. And the Corvette is so determined to get that sweep, he's almost there. The Dodge takes second place, but the Corvette finishes with a sweep, expanding their confidence and moving on to the grand finals. They still want to pull up faster times if they can later, but the fact that they are in the grand finals will give them a chance to do so. And now there is only one spot left. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for day number 8.